MSP to do the onboarding of new team members, the deleting of team, not the deleting, the disabling of team members, that kind of stuff. So we went from a large enterprise of, having 12 people, one in each region doing it. We now had an MSP doing it per request.
Yep. And just out of curiosity, how did you find that specific MSP? Were they local to you? Did they have, did they optimize on transitioning email to the cloud? And what was their competency?
Yeah, they were really experts of what they were doing. They were 24/7. There was an SLA on creating new people. There was an SLA on, just their SLA stated we can do things in a certain amount of times, even disabling and auditing. There was a whole bunch of stuff that was written up and agreed upon within the contract. And I think the only real challenge is with 24/7, I guess help desk scenario, because you're calling an MSP to do something for you. I think the biggest issue is as the new team members or their team members on the MSP came on, it was always a new learning process and making sure that the SLAs were met.
Sure. Okay. So how did it go for Whole Foods? I mean, was it a good experience?
I was in the beginning phases of it. They didn't, so when they went to the 365 cloud, there was only certain layers of levels of people that were on it. They didn't want to put it all in one, obviously. They wanted to put, they put the managers or the coordinators on it first so they can see the environment, kind of like not train the trainer, but to give the people that really were going to do the deep dives with the groups and figure out the best processes. So the coordinators were behind it and the analysts were on it. I think there was about 1,000 people when I started on it. And when you go to 365 from an internal exchange, I'm sure you probably already know this, you can't just go to the cloud. You need to have servers still in your environment on-prem in order for it to happen for different processes throughout the system.
Say more. So you're saying that they replicated or they have feeder systems that stay on-premise?
They were definitely feeders. I guess they're called, I forgot what the name is. They are like feeder systems. They had to still keep the hardware with the servers that were on-prem in order for it to get to 365. I think the whole concept was to eventually move it all off to the cloud, but in the beginning it was servers that were still local on-prem, though you can log into Outlook. Like we pointed the Outlook on the desktop or the scenario of inside, your local Outlook to Office 365, but in the backside, everything was working still from the internal prem. So that makes sense. So you do have to have, with that large amount of team members on an Exchange 365, you still need to have some kind of load balancing email service that's running throughout the system for SMTP and also for what's the other one? FTP, SMTP, for the back and forth exchange of emails. And you also have to have something balancing all the spam and all that other stuff.
So you'd have basically front-end email servers that remained on-premise that would basically filter or provide local services for the broader Exchange platform was sitting in Azure.
Correct.
So was it was it replicated, or did it have specific services that were different?
There are both. I mean, when you look at how everything's set up with the cloud environment, you have opportunity to still use your prem environment until you feel like you can fully cut over. And then a lot of the rules and things that are behind it still have to come from what the current exchange looks like. When I say rules, I mean just in the Office 365 environment, the rules are replicated and they are on Office 365, but you still need, for the amount of people that they have, they need to have the extra prem servers to make it happen.
Okay. All right. So that's very interesting. So then you went to Simple Health.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you want to hear their story?
Well,